What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hatoraid Live, the Hatoraid Hour podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, aka Hatoraid Cowboy, and thank you for joining me twice this month on a live stream. I know that typically doesn't happen, but it's good for the channel and it's good to talk to everybody. So appreciate everybody that's tuning in live and those that are watching later. And as a reminder, let's have fun, let's be kind to one another, let's keep it G-rated. And let me know down in the comments where you guys are visiting from, if this is your first time visiting the channel. So I did not come alone today. If you saw the thumbnail, I have some people with me. I've got Brian from Ace of Base Home Theater, who has a YouTube channel. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for joining the channel. First time on the channel, and I think this is your second live stream.
Yeah, I did one with Shane Lee and Don Dunn,
Yep.
probably like a month ago.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one. So cool. Thank
Yeah.
you for joining. And then we've got Rusty, who you probably recognize. What's up, Rusty?
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So yeah, I decided to do a live stream. I was talking with been talking with Brian a little bit off camera, and he just started a YouTube channel. He's new to it. He is reaching out, asking for help, tips, and stuff. So we've been talking, and then I also decided that I would have Rusty come and join us. We got some couple of things that we're going to talk about here too. But Brian, why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory of your journey into home theater, and then you can tell us why you decided to jump into YouTube.
All right. So it all started in, let's think back, 1989. I'm old. So
Not as old as
I
me.
started out with a Techniques rack system that my parents bought me, like listening to music and stuff like that. And then I think I was 14, and I got my first car 2 years later, and I got big into car stereo. A buddy of mine went to the local speed shop. It was called Westminster Speed and Sound, and had a 18 put in the trunk of his Nissan Sentra and like 20 speakers. You could hear him coming down the street from like 10 miles away. And I was like, oh, I'm hooked on bass. All right, so that's cool. And then I got into the car stereo. And then once I moved out and got my own place, I bought my first home theater system. Now, don't laugh. It was a Bose Lifestyle 48, which
And
I
how old
thought
were you?
was, at that time, let's think. I was 21, so I'm 48 now. I'm not good at math right now. I've been doing math all day. Moved out, got my own house, and went to Tweeter when they used to be in. I don't know if you remember Tweeter. It was called Bremma. It was a pretty high end stereo shop. So I went in there. I bought a Panasonic plasma, the Curo. I think it was at the time. It was like a 50-inch plasma and the Lifestyle 48 system. I thought it was the best thing next to sliced bread. Sounds everywhere. It was great. Shortly after that, I ended up getting an AVR. They turned me on to Mirage stuff because Mirage was pretty
Okay.
good stuff back then. I think I got two 12-inch subs, bookshelves, a center, rears. Obviously, we all know that blew the Lifestyle 48 system out of the water. I sold that, and that just kept going. It's like I think after that I did Polk. I did Polk after that. I had Pinnacle. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that brand.
Yep.
It's an older brand. Then I got multiple versions of Klipsch. Then I went to SVS Ultra, and now I got hooked up with Steven Smith from Home Theater Gurus. He helped me design the room and place all the speakers properly where they should be. And now I have Triad, which I'm over the moon with. I think they're fantastic speakers. And then I went with GSG audio subs. I have two 21s up front with a speaker power SP2 8000 amp. And coming next Friday, I got two more 21s going in the back.
Jeez.
With a S.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be, and Brandon Hill, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's on the Facebook groups, Elevated Home Theater Calibrations.
Okay.
He's probably tuned my room 15 times now because I just keep changing stuff. But I can honestly say now I landed on the Triad. I'm extremely happy. I don't want to change anything. Everything's where it should be. I do get a lot of crap from people on like Facebook groups. They say my speakers are too small for my subs. But I think the common misconception is people think because a speaker's small, it can't put out a lot of sound. And I'm not a reference level guy. I'm usually at like My normal listing is like minus 25. If I go crazy, I go to minus 10. And that's literally knocking stuff off of shelves in 5 different rooms of the house. I
Hmm.
just ordered a big pack of museum putty, so that's kind of helping keep
Nice.
stuff on shelves. Yeah. And I own a construction business. That's what I do during the day to pay for this expensive hobby. And we do a lot of AV stuff through our business, but with our clients, they want really clean, so they usually want like an 85-inch TV, a sound bar, some wireless speakers, and a sub. Very rarely do I get somebody that wants an entire theater room, but when they do, I'm like the happiest guy on the planet because I love doing that. But there's just where I'm at, there's not a big market for it. It's mainly big TVs, sound bars, maybe throw some in walls in the back, like the Sonos amps and stuff like that. But nobody wants to really have giant subwoofer. I mean, and we're talking people live in $2-3 million houses. They don't want speakers everywhere. So
Interesting.
I'm curious, why do you think that is? Like, why are they steering more towards sound bars? And
I think it's honestly, I think it's the wives most of the time.
okay,
Nothing against women, but most of the time the wives are like, I don't want to see a speaker. I don't want it to be, yeah, I don't want a big black box sitting in the middle of the room. So they're like, I'm like, well, I could do in walls and we can
hmm,
paint the grills the color of the walls. And they're like, yeah, I want that. And the
yeah,
husband's just like, okay,
Hush
okay,
mouth.
yeah, that's it.
I
So
don't I don't know if this sounds elitist, but I haven't been in too many $1 million homes. I've been in some pretty fancy homes, but I have been in some. Actually, I have been in a couple $1 million homes that don't have like a dedicated home theater, and I'm like, I'm
yep,
offended. Like you have
yeah.
all this money, or they'll have like a little bitty TV, and I'm like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah, the current house I'm in now is 4 million, and when they bought it, it had a theater room, and it had like old JBL speakers. So the husband was like, "Can we upgrade this?" And I was like, "Well, you're in luck because I'm selling an entire SVS Ultra system," and he bought it
nice.
all. So I mean, I set it up, put in acoustic panels, Brandon tuned it, and he sat down and he was like, "Wow, is this how it was supposed to sound?" And I was like, yeah, but I mean, could it sound better? So he's gotten addicted now, and he's
hmm,
already asking like, what would bigger subs sound like? And I'm like, oh, you could definitely use 4 of them in here because I think the room's like 25 feet long and 16 feet wide,
Man,
and it's
that's
got
a
a 100
big room.
110-inch screen. I'm like, dude, you need to go up to like 150 in this room.
hmm,
So he's considering, and he's the kind of guy that'll buy an NZ9 and a nice
hmm.
Stewart screen with masking and stuff like that. So that'll be a fun project if he. I mean, right now we're doing $170,000 master bathroom. So I think he's gonna,
170,000 master.
dude.
That's
I'll send.
almost as much as my
Yeah,
house.
I'll send you some pictures tomorrow. And it's
Man,
just like, I mean, the level of trim work that I put in this bathroom is better than most high-end foyers. I mean, it's got a coffered ceiling, recessed panels everywhere, pediment heads over the doors and the windows. I think the shower's 10 feet tall, 8 feet long, and 5 feet wide.
that's
It, it's
crazy.
it's pretty. The toilet's automated. You just walk up to it, it lifts the lid, and you do your thing, and you walk away. It flushes and closes the lid. It's pretty. I've done a lot of stuff, but I haven't seen one of these toilets yet, and I'm like, wow, okay,
Right.
five
So,
thousand
Crazy.
dollar toilet.
so
Yeah.
it's like one of those like Japanese Toto toilets.
Yeah, it's a
Right?
Kohler. It's a Kohler, but I was like,
Cool.
wow, it's got a nightlight in it. So if you're the guy going to the bathroom at night and you can't see, it
Yeah,
lifts the lid up and it lights up. And
like
then
a
you
little
walk away.
laser. Does it have
Yeah.
like a laser bullseye too, so you know where to aim?
It's pretty crazy. I
You
mean, I've
can't
done a lot of
miss.
stuff. No, you can't miss. So yeah, I mean
That's funny.
that and he wants us to build an ice hockey rink in the backyard
Oh my
now.
goodness.
Yeah, so he's big into
Man,
ice hockey. So we're good. We're
Wow.
I've never done that before, but I know a lot of people in the industry, so I'm researching it. So hopefully we can build a guy an ice hockey rink. I was like, just take all that money and buy speakers. You don't need ice
Hmm.
right?
hockey. Yeah, buy some per listen. Get down
Yeah,
with
for
that.
real.
Yeah.
So, how did you okay, so you got into home theater, you do a little bit of it, in construction. What made you want to start a YouTube channel and, document this?
Probably Youth Man. I mean, because I've been watching him since day one, and I'm
Yep.
like, I'd like to do it just to review stuff that I have, And then hopefully in the future, companies will send me stuff to review. But it's fun. My channel's this big right now. I think I have 250 subscribers. But when I do a video, I enjoy doing it. And like I enjoy the comments, answering the comments. I basically like the interaction. And my point is, hopefully, I can help somebody out that to understand it doesn't have to cost $1 million to sound nice. You can start out small and just buy what you can afford and do the best you can. But I think a lot of people are just afraid. On these groups, they'll go on Facebook groups and just get torn apart. Like, this is garbage, that's garbage. It's like, dude, just let the guy enjoy his stuff. And if you don't like it, just don't comment.
Right.
I mean, I made the mistake, and I did it for Kevin from GSG, do a little advertising for him on Reddit. Dude, don't ever go on Reddit and post pictures of your home theater. I had to delete the post because the people got so malicious and evil. I actually got threats.
Wow.
One guy, because I have
Threats?
a theater sign. Yeah, I have a theater sign hanging in the back of my room that says Copenhaver Family Home Theater. He's like, now I know your last name. You done messed up. And I was like,
wow.
what? Okay, well, I'm going to delete this post now because this is getting a little too vicious for me.
All right.
But
Hold on a sec. I need to change the name on the screen real quick.
yeah. I mean,
I was just kidding. That's not my real last name.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm a poser.
It was appalling. I was like, wow, this is.
But what was his beef with you? Like, what was his issue?
Well, here's the problem. Maybe I worded it wrong. So, and to me, it is like compared to rooms I've seen and on YouTube and even people I know, I put, thanks for having me. Here's my humble home theater. Well, the word humble set them off into a frenzy to where they dogpiled on me and just tore me apart. Everything in my room's stupid. Everything's wrong. Your projector sucks. I was like,
idiots.
Okay,
Man.
I'm out. See ya. Bye. Yeah. I can't handle the drama stuff. It's just
I don't understand that. Like, it's the same thing with YouTube. Like, okay, if I watch a video, and maybe I'll start watching a video and I end up like, you know what? I don't like this. I'm just gonna click off.
not comment. Say
And not
something
comment.
ignorant.
Yeah. The only time I comment is if it's something like, oh, you know, it's positive, but like I don't understand why people feel the need to waste energy typing out. I mean, I've seen paragraphs where people are just like ripping into the content creator, and it's like, why are you wasting your time? So
It's just, I think it's just misery. And honestly, I hate to say it, but I think a lot of times it's jealousy and envy. It's like, well, I can't have
think
that, so
so.
I'm going to
Yeah.
attack this person. Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff on there. Like, oh, you show us a picture of your Rolls Royce next. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is not that expensive of a room. Like,
yeah, that's
but
another
apparently,
misconception.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, wow, okay, sorry, I work for what I buy. I don't know what to say.
So, Jordan, tell me if I'm derailing the conversation,
No,
but
go
this
ahead,
is really interesting to me because we had this same conversation when you came to visit of why it was you and I and Brock. And so I think a lot of us have been inspired by Youth Man and his attitude, very like inclusive and positive, and like you work with what you got and you just enjoy it. And as you build, and we all kind of resonate with that. But we were talking, Jordan and John Brock and I, like, does it seem to you that this community is more like harsh and judgmental than maybe others, like a little more, I don't know, angry? Is like somebody brought the question up, was like, okay, well, you know, you're into cars, you mentioned earlier, and I'm into cars. In the car community, I don't feel like, yeah, you get a few jerks, but
Yeah,
for the most part, I haven't had any kind of like beef with people. What is it about home theater that makes, I don't get it.
I mean, I unfortunately think a big problem is social media because there's really you're not face to face with somebody and they feel like they can say whatever they want. I mean, like, for example, I'm in Mopar groups and I post a picture. My wife has a Charger. I have a Chrysler 300. They're completely customized. On Facebook groups only, I go to Carlisle and there's 5,000 Mopars there. People come up to the car. Wow, this is awesome. Never once do I get insulted for the motor size. On Facebook, it's constant. Like,
That's
on Facebook
weird.
groups, getting torn apart because I didn't buy a 5.7. I was like, well, you can't afford a 5.7. And I'm not bragging here. I'm like,
Right.
dude, I have $15,000 wheels. Do you think I really couldn't afford a 5.7? And then I get to the point where I'm just like block, 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 and it's just like it's not worth arguing with these people. And then the same thing with like these home theater Facebook groups. You'll get, and I'm not hating on them, guys that spent $100,000 on a room, and then they're talking down to guys that only spent $10,000.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, if you don't like it, just walk on past, and you don't have to comment. Like,
Yeah.
if you like it, or just say, hey man, that looks great, good job. Like
That just goes to
yeah.
show they have, and like, Symphonic said 98% are all bark, and they're doing it behind a keyboard, but a lot of them too. Whoa, my
Oh, man.
my chair almost gave out on me.
They're
on,
after
on
you
live.
already, man. They're gonna
Somebody,
get you.
somebody booby trapped my chair.
They did.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people that are like that, especially the people who talk down on other people with lesser systems, lesser in their eyes, or maybe they didn't spend as much. It's all ego, man. They probably have something. It's more than likely it comes down to self-esteem. That's how they build themselves up and make themselves
Yeah.
feel better, and it's really sad. And Symphonic said most of the time they wouldn't say that stuff to your face.
No.
Oh no,
They're hiding behind a keyboard, and it makes them feel powerful. So yeah, I'm gonna talk down. But it's like I was talking to somebody else about that too, and we may have talked about this too, Rusty. It's like, okay, like watches is almost probably worse than home theater because people spend I don't know how many thousands of dollars on something that you wear when you're awake for maybe 8 hours, 10, 12 hours.
yeah.
I don't understand it. I could care less about watches, but I'm not going
I
to
got
go
an
on
Apple
somebody's
Watch.
watch channel. I do too. And even then, some people might be like, "Oh, that's too." But it's like, okay, I'm not into watches. I don't care. I'm not going to go and even if I did like watches, I'm not going to go on somebody's watch channel and be like, "Oh, you only spent $300 or 10,000." Like, I don't understand the mentality behind people that are just like, I am compelled to type this comment and hit enter. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And I've had people attack my projector. It's like, well, I have a JVC NX7. I was like, man, that's awesome. I'd like to have one of those. Well, that UST sucks. And I'm like, okay, cool. You
Yeah.
don't have to watch it. I watch it every day and I enjoy
Right.
it. So,
Then why do people buy it? Why is there a market for it?
I mean, for me, it was the easiest approach. My center channel could go in front of it. It could sit behind there and I just hang the screen and it was easy to set up. Now, later down the road, I want to see what the future holds for TVs before I jump on. Because for my room, 120 inch is about as big as I can go unless I cut the stand down, lower the center speaker and all that. So, and I'm happy with 120 because I only sit 10 feet away from it. And to me, it's pretty immersive at 10 feet away. I mean, it's I don't have any complaints. Now, would I like the picture quality of an OLED in 120? Yeah, because
Oh,
I have
yeah.
one in my bedroom, and when I come to bed and watch TV, I'm like, yeah, that projector's good, but not
Yeah.
even close. Not even close.
It ain't gonna touch it.
No, it's pretty much perfect picture quality. As I mean, the black levels is where that's what gets me
Yeah.
every time, and the contrast. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So
But,
real
yeah.
quick, I want to say hi to a couple people. So Scott, what's up, man? Living it with Scott and Cat podcast. Let's see, Symphonics is in the chat room. By the way, he's got I think he has a YouTube channel too, but I don't think he's very active on there. But he's mostly active on Instagram, so he goes live pretty often. Most of the time, I don't get to check in because I don't know if he's in Canada, so usually he's like live streaming when I'm asleep. But he's got a Instagram. Go check that out. What's up, man? Croson606. So Croson606 says content creators are doing the same thing with cheaper or non-sponsored stuff, and talk down about different or less expensive equipment. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's sad. Even I don't really follow anybody on YouTube that does that, but I have seen it, and it's just like, dude, like, okay, like you got money, or even if you don't have money, like who cares? Enjoy your stuff, share the experience with people on YouTube, yeah, but don't make somebody feel lesser because you
I
can't.
think, unfortunately, that's the society we're in right now with social media. If you look at social media and do a percentage, how much positive stuff do you see versus negative stuff?
Right.
Negative outweighs positive by far. It's unfortunate, but that's just
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's what gets the clicks, and that's why people do it. And it's maybe not just, I guess you could say it's clickbait, but for whatever reason, man, that people love clicking on stuff like that. And the algorithm picks it up because it sees, oh, everybody's commenting on this video,
Yep.
they must like it. But I don't think it knows how to differentiate. We're like, oh, this is toxic, this isn't, maybe I shouldn't push this out. So
Well, here's an example. My first post on Reddit, because I used the word humble, and they lost their minds, got 373,000 views and 2,000 comments,
wow,
and I deleted it. I was like, I don't.
that's
And then
crazy.
I reposted it without the word humble in it, and a mod came on and locked it because he said it was a repost. And I'm like, okay, dude. I mean,
Wow, that's
so I'm
crazy.
the guy starting trouble over humble, then I delete it and fix it, and then you lock it so people can't comment.
All
I'm
right.
just
So
like,
so what
Bye.
I'm hearing here is that Jordan and Ace of Base need to start beef like right now. let's stir this up and get some
Blow my
views.
channel up.
Yeah. Anybody else
Lord.
want a piece of this?
Right. How much you spent on your projector? Come at me, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
My journey has been filled with lots of hate. I will tell you that. Like, it's been,
Well,
I
it's been quite
saw.
a.
Sorry, man. I saw Paul's comment about talking down about less expensive equipment, but I see the hate goes both ways too. There's a lot of hate when it's more expensive equipment.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. Hey,
Like-
anything Kaleidoscape,
Oh my
man.
God.
Kaleidoscape, expensive power cables. That's probably the worst one. Which I have that on our agenda. And
Yeah.
then what's the other one? Like Mad VR, all that stuff,
yeah.
man. You're gonna get all kinds of hate.
Yep. So they're coming at people with Kaleidoscape with like pitchforks, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I'll take one of those. I mean, if I could buy a Kaleidoscape tomorrow, I mean that's my next year's future goal. I 100% want one. I mean, they're expensive for a reason because they're fantastic. But
Yeah.
people that can't have them are like, this is the dumbest thing. You could get an Apple TV, and I'm like, come on, man.
And
An
also,
Apple TV.
yeah. Also, I think, and me and Rusty have talked about this extensively too. I think you're still going to get some people that are gonna hate it no matter what. But a lot of times, people just haven't experienced it. And I was the same way before, even before Kaleidoscape had what they have now, when it was literally just the disc, where you had to buy the disc player and you had to put in the
Oh,
disc
yeah.
and it would spin.
Like, rip it.
Yeah. Well, even before then, it wasn't even rip. You would just buy like this. It was basically like a 20 disc, 30 disc changer. You would put
Oh,
all your
yeah,
disc
that's
in there,
right.
but it wouldn't
Yep.
play unless it was inside of it. And I was like, I remember I was first getting into home theater and I saw the price and I was like, man, I ain't paying that. Like, why is it that expensive?
Yeah.
And so for years, I was the same way. But I mean, I've seen them all. I've used NVIDIA Shield. I've used Apple TV. I've used Zedu. I've used Zapiti. I've used Arvolution. And yeah, those things cost much less, and you can do a lot of it yourself. But until you
yeah.
actually experience the Kaleidoscape, it's the best way to view it.
And I experienced it 3 weeks ago, and my Best Buy in Columbia, where my business is, they have a Magnolia, and in there they have a Kaleidoscape set up, a Stewart, I think it's a Stewart screen with the electronic masking, and then I think it's like a Sony, it's an upper end Sony, it's 5,000 projector. Does that sound right?
The 5000 ES. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had
and
that
then-
one in for review.
He let me play with the remote for the Kaleidoscape, and I was like, I'm sold, but I can't buy it right now, so I'm leaving. But when I can get one, I'm definitely getting one. It's so convenient. It's just,
Yeah.
and the picture quality and the sound, I do believe, is a bump up from a good
is.
4K player. Yeah.
even Disney, like, so I have one Disney movie, The Marvels, which is horrible, absolutely trash.
I just bought it.
yeah,
Terrible.
I was the second movie that I bought, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why did I buy this? But
I want to
even
hear more about this today.
dude, it's we could talk about
bad.
it. But I bought that one, and I was like, I don't know, I haven't heard the disc version, but I was like, this sounds much better than what the Disney or Marvel movies usually sound like on disc.
So do you have a Kaleidoscape?
I have one.
I got to get my YouTube game up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rusty's he's the OG man. He's had one for how long? You had yours now, Rusty?
About 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, and
Okay.
I love it. And I mean, don't yell at me for it though. All you people out there, it's awesome. Like it's ridiculously expensive, but it's also a one of a kind.
Oh yeah.
There's no direct competitor. So until there is,
Zero.
it's gonna be expensive.
Yep. That's just kind of the way things work.
And I can't say anything. I chose to buy four expensive 21-inch subs and 2 expensive amps. I could have said, hey, I'll just keep my old Monolith 15s and buy a Kaleidoscape, but Scott Newby made me do it.
Oh yeah.
You hear that, Scott?
Yeah. Oh, he knows. I talk to him all the time on Messenger. I'm like, dude, you now have me. I'm going to his house on May the 11th, so I'll probably leave there buying even more stuff.
Yeah,
Once
I got to get him on the live stream too.
Yeah.
So, kind of to go into that, what you kind of mentioned before, I wanted to talk about, which is, I guess, is kind of like a big topic now, especially with CES. They showed a bunch of there was 110-inch, I think it was a TCL TV. Hisense has like 115 or something like that with like 10,000 nits. Crazy.
And
So
like 40,000 dimming zones, which is nuts.
Insane. So I think a lot of people are I've been seeing a lot of people online either state or ask, like, can large TVs replace projectors for home theater? So I want to get you guys' opinion on this, because I have my opinion. I do think it's the future. I think a lot more people are going to start buying large screen TVs over projectors. I don't think projectors are going to go anywhere though.
No.
And I have my thoughts about that. But Rusty, what's your thought on that? Why don't you go first?
Yeah, this is something I've experienced because I started on a plasma, and then I went from plasma to like 120-inch, Epson projection and speakers behind the screen. And then I moved and I went back to a 77 LG OLED, which, I mean, I just, I'm all about the OLED. Like it's gorgeous. There's nothing, I can't say anything bad about it at all. And it's especially LG has served me very well. And I love the picture so much that I was disappointed because it was a downgrade to go from 120 to a 77, but the picture quality just, didn't compare, especially, on the Epson. It's like an Epson 4040. So now, but then it's just not the same. Like a 77-inch screen, the immersiveness, the feeling, I can't hide the speakers behind the screen. And I really like that. Like that was something that I just enjoy. So it wasn't actually until the first M Wave that I finally was convinced that I could do projection and do it well enough that it didn't feel like a downgrade. Now I also went kind of crazy. I started with an NX7 and a 150-inch screen, and then I ended up getting an NZ9. So, that's not a fair comparison.
Elitist.
I know.
I'm gonna find you and make ignorant comments.
Right.
I don't have that projector. Yeah.
I still haven't changed my name yet.
Great.
And once I did, I never felt the need to go back because I love that 45-degree viewing angle, the immersive experience. But, I was talking to a friend of mine, Damien, this week, just kind of over text message. Guy I met at M Wave, and we've kept in touch, and we're having this conversation, TV versus projector, coincidentally. And I guess he sent me a video from Giles McCoy, and I watched it or listened to it. And it's it's interesting. And yeah, when I can get 150-inch OLED or whatever's the next best, the newer thing, and I can get that for a similar amount that I have invested, I would love to do that. But we're talking from what I have seen to date, to get a 150-inch screen, it's going to cost you $250,000.
Yep.
Oh yeah, easy.
You get like a Samsung The Wall. They're they're expensive. They're an involved installation. You have to
Heat.
align the panels. They
Yep.
put a lot of heat, but so does the projector. I don't know how
Yeah.
they compare. Um, they the seams, like you can align the panels pretty well, but you can still see the seams. I mean, it
Oh yeah.
depends on how much you're looking, but I see them. So I'm excited for the technology, and I love that there's these big TVs coming out, and especially with the high dimming zone count. Um, I think that in that 100-inch range, like we're getting there to where it's like feasible for more people or a lot of people, where you can get a good quality TV, great image, 100-inch. But in the 120 and 150 range, I think we're still a ways away, and then you have to figure out the next step is, I have a preference for hiding the speakers behind the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that center, like right in the middle. I've done it both ways. And I know you can do dual centers, not something I've tried. So there's ways to work around it. But I, I love to see the technology mature. I think it would be even cooler as if I've seen some prototypes of like a roll-on screen. It's like a flexible film where you could like buy it in a roll and then apply it to the wall.
Interesting.
I don't think that's been like commercialized, but it's like a flexible material. And if that became a thing where you could roll it up, take it into the room, unroll it, adhere it to the wall, if that technology ever became mainstay, that would be amazing. So those are my thoughts.
Brian, what about you?
Well, me out in my room, I went from an 85 Sony 950G. Um, it wasn't a mini LED, but it was, full array, local dimming. Crazy good picture. The blacks were pretty good, not much blooming. And then I was like, you know what? I went to a friend of mine's house. I met on Facebook, and he had the Epson LS800. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, the size of this is just, I don't care about the TV as much. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it. I'm going to try it. And even when my wife sat down and watched it, she's like, holy crap, this is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what do you think about the picture quality? She's like, it looks like a TV to me. And I said, well, do you think the old TV had a better picture? And she's like, I don't care. It's just, it's like being at the movie theater. And sometimes I like the softness. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but like
I
the
know exactly what you're
softness,
talking about. Yep.
and it's more cinematic because sometimes, like, I'll be watching TV upstairs in my bedroom. I have a G3 OLED LG. Sometimes the picture is so good, it just looks fake. I mean, does that make sense?
I know
And
what you're talking about.
I feel more like I'm at a movie theater with a projector. Now, granted, my projector's not the greatest ones. It'll suffer in like really dark scenes. I can still see it fine because the room's light controlled. But I can imagine like an NX9, NZ9, the black levels are probably way better in a dark scene.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, I haven't spent enough time with one to actually tell. But I mean, I'm not going to say. I would rather go with a 150-inch scope screen in my room with a long throw projector than put up a 120-inch TV. To be honest with you, so saying TVs will take over projection. I agree. Once those micro LED walls come out and they perfect them and they're under $20,000 for a 150, then you might be getting into the should I buy a projector or should I buy a TV? But and I've seen the 98-inch TCL in person, the cheap one that's like $1,800. It it's got terrible blooming. Honestly, the black levels on my projector are better, and projectors don't bloom. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that I correct me if I'm wrong, but a projector can't bloom, correct? Because there's no light coming from the back.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never experienced that. I think so. It's interesting that you said that because I haven't heard anyone else say that, and that's what I was going to say. So there's a couple things. One is, and right now I don't even have speakers behind my screen, so I'm not saying this like, oh, but I just don't. There's so many people in home theater. Like if you have anything that's bigger than 100 inches, unless you have a massive wall, most people are going to put that behind the screen. Or if you're doing 150, like I don't see the technology being anywhere close to where you can have an LED screen or a TV and be able to put your speakers behind the screen without some type of degradation to the audio. Like I don't see
No.
the technology being that good to where it's imperceptible. Like it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. But something that you said, Brian, is when even when I've been to the, man, my chair keeps, somebody's booby trapping me, man. I'm not going to lay back anymore.
All right. So who's going to sponsor you for a new chair?
Right?
Next?
Yeah.
I want to reach out to Staples.
Super chats are welcome, guys.
Yeah, right?
And actually, this is a chair that I got for free from a company, and it's crap. But
Don't lie, you stole it from your office, didn't you?
I wish those are better. But yeah, so I've been to the shows and I've seen the 100-inch, TVs, the 100-inch, 15, whatever. When I see those TVs, I don't get the cinematic feel. Like there's something about a projector, the way that it looks on a projector screen, the light emanating from the projector.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a mixture of like nostalgia or I don't get that movie theater feeling when I'm watching movies on a TV. Again, like in my living room, I have a TV. I wouldn't have anything else. But as far as home theater, especially when you get like 100-inch or bigger, to me, the cinematic aspect of it is just gone with a TV for me.
Yeah. I feel the same way. It's like I feel like I'm basically in the movie theater. Like when I was a kid and went to the movies with my parents, you just have that. It's more of a cinematic feeling than a TV. I mean, it makes sense when I say it, but
yeah.
So
yeah,
what do y'all mean by cinematic feeling? Is that because of the size?
So, well, yes, but there's some. I don't know if it's the way that like, to me, and maybe this is just me, but if I watch Top Gun Maverick or Dune on a 100-inch TV versus a 100-inch projector screen, it looks different. It Because with the TV you can see like the or not the plasma, but the film on the screen. Some of it's glossy, sometimes it's matte. It just doesn't look the same to me on versus a projector and a projector screen. And cinematic, yes, the size, but I get a different feel. Like when I'm watching TV, I'm like watching TV. Even if it's a movie, I'm just like, okay. But when I'm watching it like in my theater, I'm just like, man, this is awesome. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I feel like I would lose the cinematic feeling of watching a movie on a big screen, even if it's the same size.
Okay.
I get exactly what you're saying. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I personally don't think they're going to be. I don't think projectors are going anywhere. I don't know. I don't have access to data if like projector screens are on a decline, or if they project that projectors are going to decline over the next 10, 15 years. But I just feel like there's so many restrictions with the large screen TV, especially if you go wall to wall. Like you're gonna have to have like the micro LEDs. I will say I have seen just video walls, so they're another like video screen wall. I saw that at CEDIA in September. That was probably the most impressive. I couldn't see any lines at all. But then again, if you go wall to wall with that, where do you put your speakers? Because now you can't put them behind the screen, and if you go now, you're gonna have to make your screen smaller so that you can put them on the sides and below the TV. So I don't know. There's just too many restrictions for me to ever gravitate towards a TV in my theater room. So
I mean, for me, if I could put the center channel behind the screen, I would probably do it.
Right.
But for the way my speakers are set up, I wouldn't get the imaging that I do if I moved them in closer and put them behind a 120-inch screen. I mean, maybe like a 150 scope screen because it's wider, I would get the same imaging. But I've played around moving them close together, and where they're at now, the speakers disappear into the room. You can't like say, oh, the sound's coming from there. It's just kind of like a bubble of sound, and it makes the sound kind of sound like it's coming from outside the wall, if that makes sense. I mean, it's been a lot of trial and error, but same thing with my Atmos. Once I got that in the correct placement, I can actually, I'm watching every movie over again because I didn't even realize what Atmos sounded like until
Yeah.
I did it correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I don't know. I think it's good that TVs are starting to come down in price and that they're getting bigger and that they're getting
Oh yeah.
better, brighter, better images. But I just don't see that for home theater enthusiasts. I don't think that they're most of them are going to jump ship to TVs.
Not somebody with a light controlled room because, like, even in my
No.
room, I have custom motorized drop down shades. So if I want to watch something in the daytime, feel like I'm in a closed in room, I just push a button and the shades come down, and then I'm closed in. Even though it's in a family room, I pretty much dedicated my family room into a theater room. So
Nice.
I mean, we have a front living room that we have a TV in and the games and everything if we want to just watch a TV show.
Nice. What, you were saying something, Rusty?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I'm going to throw another wrinkle into this Apple Vision because I got a chance to play with that a little bit.
Oh, you did. Nice.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on that?
So, one, the it's impressive. Like, it's really impressive. Apple did what Apple does. They're late to the party, but they do it better. And I really liked it a whole lot more than I thought I would. I had no real interest in purchasing one. I can't justify it to me, it would be like a toy. At this point in the future, I'll probably have one, but right now it's just a toy. It's an iPad. It's more of an iPad than it is like a MacBook,
Yeah.
But I will say, like, there is no screen door effect. Like, the image quality is outstanding. The content make sure I use the right words because there's the Apple lingo for everything. I think they call it spatial video. And the spatial video is just insane because you get about 180 degrees. So you can do like full, like left to right and all around.
That's crazy. And
see in detail. Like, I mean, talk about an immersive experience. It impressed me. The Atmos, so the speakers are actually like in the headband. They're not even on your ear or in your ear.
They're aimed at your ear.
They're aimed at your ear, and it was fantastic for the sound quality. I watched a demo of an Alicia
spatial
Keys.
audio.
Yeah, but it's spatial audio, but it's not even. It was crazy because it's not in ear or on ear. It's near ear, and they do some crazy Apple voodoo, and it's really impressive. The 3D, like, so right now it's mostly the Disney store. Disney movies in 3D. Like, I watched some Finding Nemo, and like, my goodness, it is unbelievably good. I'm not a 3D. I've never really cared for 3D anything else. It didn't feel like a gimmick. It just felt like this is how it's supposed to be. So all that, to me, it would never be a replacement for, well, I can't imagine it being a replacement for a theater or even a living room TV. It would be like yet another device that I own that Apple has me in their ecosystem. Like, I'm fully, I'm sucked into the ecosystem at this point. And there's no way out. It's definitely a version 1 product. The guy that I was using that bought it, he loves it. He lives in a small 1-bedroom apartment. He doesn't have room for a TV. So being able to use it as a home theater, to him, it was a massive upgrade because he went from essentially nothing to a 200-inch screen, equivalent, whatever you want to call it. And it's not exactly the same because it is right in front of your face, but it's good. They did good. It's really not the same experience on sound. Like, even though they did a really good job, like, you don't get the tactile bass, and to me, that's a big part of it. It still doesn't compare to like my room, but I think for the people that are just, well, for your soundbar people that they say, I want something, but I really don't want something ugly or big, I think that there's going to be a big market for it. But it's cool. It's definitely cool.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, in person, but I would definitely like to just try it out. At least, the movie watching part, because I hear it's pretty amazing, because I think they have a 4K panel for each eye. And like everyone's saying that movie watching, especially 3D, is just like it's crazy, because you have such a, like you said, a huge, wide field of view, and there's this big screen in front of you, and they're like it's like a 4K panel that you're watching. There's no, oh, this looks cheap, or it looks legit. So
If
it'd be
Thermo
interesting.
was talking about it, he said you could pretty much just turn your head. You'd almost have to turn around before the screen
That's
disappears.
crazy.
So you look up and down. He said there was some demo on it where you're standing on like a mountain, and you look down, and it's like you're literally looking down the edge of a mountain,
That's
and
wild.
it looks like real. So, but the thing is, that you're gonna have your whole family sitting on the sofa with. Let's all watch a movie. You can't see each other.
It's Wall-E. It's happening.
Yeah.
Wall-E is gonna happen. Two movies that I think were like basically prophecy is one, Wall-E, and two, Idiocracy.
I knew you were going to say that. I haven't seen it yet, but my coworker always tells me. She's been talking about that like 5 years ago. She's like, it's already happening.
Oh yeah, you gotta like go watch it, and you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, this is all happening today.
Yeah,
Apple could be sitting around right now going, cool, they think these 120-inch TVs are cool. In 2 years, we're going to come out with a hologram TV. Who knows?
Right.
You just sit it looks like an Apple TV box, and it just projects an image in the air. Nothing would surprise me at this point. And
yeah, it's gonna get interesting to see what version 2, version 3 is gonna be like. I mean, they're already working on it.
oh yeah,
But
And apparently, there's rumors about the Apple Vision Air would be in like half the price.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to be. It's all speculation.
well, and that's the thing, because Apple released it and it's called the Pro. Based on how their other products are, iPhone Pro, iPad Pro, people are saying they're going to come out with something that's cheaper, but you're going to lose probably some features on some stuff. But
it's
Yeah.
expensive, but I want to try it out. But
I want to try it. I don't think I'm ever going to own one, but I would like to try it out just to see what it's like.
if I owned it, my 7-year-old would get a hold of it because he's into the VR, whatever we have, the Meta Quest or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like, I want that Apple Vision Pro. I was like, okay, no.
Yeah,
For
my
a 7-year-old, no.
Drop that $4,000, son.
my
Yeah.
13-year-old son, he got the opportunity to try it out. So shout out to Dustin if he ever watches this, for being awesome and letting him do that. My son, he begged me. He's like, man, do you think you could get him to let me? Can I try it out? And he did. He just instantly knew how to use it.
That's wild.
And I will say that the control with the eye movement, and
That's wild
the
to me.
finger tap, it
Yeah.
works amazingly well. And it's so natural. You get used to it in about a minute.
Yeah,
So-
the eye tracking on that, from what I've seen on the videos, is it's insane. It doesn't seem like it glitches either. Like, oh, it only works 50% of the time. Everyone's like, nah. I look at it and it's there. You just tap your fingers and you're done.
It's really good. But for me, I'm like Michael saying, wait for version 2, and because to me it would just be a toy, and I couldn't justify it as purely a toy at this point.
Yeah, not for $4,000.
No.
No.
And that's
I
a
mean,
cheap one.
Look where technology is going. I mean, we have AI now. They're saying AGI will be in the near future, and then
It's
there'll
not
be ASI, which
It's gonna get
scares
scary.
me. Yeah. Oh yeah, because AGI is scary when you think about it. I mean, and then ASI is even scarier because it's a billion times smarter than human beings. So it's kind of like, slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in Blade Runner 2049 and
Right.
and 5
Judgment
or 6 years.
Day.
No.
So are we
Yeah,
talking a
yeah.
billion times smarter than the Reddit crowd or somebody else?
Well, I think
that's a different type of smart, because you're starting at the
Yeah.
bar really low.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going back old school, but I think the Texas Instruments speak and spell is smarter to people on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, they were a bunch of children. I was like, I'm gonna have to leave now. So
So are any of you guys Star Wars fans? Like how
I am.
big? How big? Are you
I
like
mean,
a
that's
fanatic or are you just like a casual like
no,
viewer?
nah, not a fanatic. I mean, when I was a kid, I was a fanatic. I went to see Star Wars in the movie theater. That's how old I am. The first one when it came out. I don't know how. I think I was like 4, and had all the action figures and all the stuff. I wish I would have kept it in the packaging, and
Oh man,
I
that
could have
stuff would have
sold.
been worth fortunes.
I could have sold
Fortune.
it for a Kaleidoscape and some publicity.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
What about you,
But no,
Rusty?
not a fanatic.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a fanatic about much of anything, but I very much enjoy the series. I'm getting a little behind on some of the Disney series stuff. I haven't kept up with all of those, but like the movies, I've watched most of them more than one time. I think
Oh yeah.
I definitely own them all.
Yeah, same here. I just wanted to talk about it because it came out. The first 3 episodes of or season 3 came out yesterday, and I watched them all like back to back to back. So I won't say I love movies. I love movies. I love
Hmm.
TV shows. I love animated stuff. So by that extension, yes, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I wouldn't say that I'm a fanatic, even though I know fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah.
But I've never been like die hard. I'm gonna fight you if you don't like the
Uh,
prequels or if you hate the
yeah.
prequels. But the first 3 episodes of this season, I'm really enjoying. Like
Now
it's
what are we talking about?
so Bad Batch. It's like
Uh, okay.
it's basically like these clones. I think it's four or five clones that basically were defective, but they have like their own group and they kind of like are like fighting back against the Empire. So and it kind of just shows some of the stuff that they go through. But I'm really enjoying the first three episodes of season 3. Like the way that it's shot, even though it's animated, it has a different to me. It has a different feel from the other 2 seasons,
Mm.
and like it's a little bit darker, but it's I don't know, man. Like the score and the pacing is it's just really good. So I was just curious because I know. Let's see, Ike. Ike says, "See you later, folks. Thanks for tuning in, Ike."
Well, now I got to check it out because I haven't watched any of that. Mandalorian was my favorite.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think Mandalorian's still my favorite show, and Andor is actually really good.
yeah, that was good too. Yeah.
But I kind of feel like s- Disney has just been milking
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Star Wars just because they know anything that we put out, people are gonna watch it, and so it's even though I'm not a fanatic, like I see it and I'm like, man, just chill out.
No,
Like,
they milked Marvel too. I mean,
oh yeah,
they're
yeah,
really
yeah.
milking Marvel.
Marvel's struggling right now. I haven't
Yeah.
enjoyed the past. And speaking of that, yeah, have y'all seen the Marvels?
I bought the disc and I
Oh,
paid
yeah, that's
like
right, you did. Yeah,
Yeah,
$32 for it, and that's $32 I'll never get back.
yeah. I'm kind
Yeah,
of
I
like,
was
why
like,
did I buy this? It's pretty bad, man.
I
Like,
haven't.
oh,
I didn't, and I don't want to. The last 2 or 3 Marvel movies, I don't, I could, and I was a huge Marvel fan until
same.
recently, but
I stopped at Endgame.
Oh
man,
That
wow,
yeah.
I'm trying to even think of some of what was the Ant-Man one like that?
Ant Man
The
and the Wasp:
Um,
Quantumania.
Quantumania, that was
Yeah,
the
awful.
that one wasn't as good.
Quantum Mania. Yeah.
And the Thor: Love and Thunder, I didn't like that at all,
No,
Um,
no,
and
no,
they
I very disappointed.
no.
they're progressively getting worse, and as they get more woke, they get worse.
Hmm.
And I had seen the backlash of like when it was in the theater, and I'm not really a fan of her. Who was it? Brie
Brie Larson,
Larson.
me
Not
either.
I've become less than used to be. Become less of a fan over time, and I did like the first Captain Marvel movie, but
Yeah, it's decent.
it's getting to
Yeah, the
be
first one
so
was pretty good. Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels so toxic. I didn't even want to watch it. So I saw you post that you watched it. I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah, and so the only 2 movies so I don't own Love and Thunder because I was like, I have all of them, and I may buy it at some point when it's like bargain bin price because I just didn't enjoy it so much. But Marvels, I heard so much about it, and I was like, okay, I only have one movie on Kaleidoscape right now. This one came out. Let me, I'll give it a shot. Maybe it's not as bad.
Mm.
And nope, it's bad. Like
Another
there's
one that I couldn't stand was Indiana Jones and the Doll of Destiny, and I'm a
so
big Indiana Jones fan.
I watched that I think last month, and I haven't seen any of the other ones. I know
Oh,
what they are,
okay,
so I know the premise. I just growing up, I didn't watch them,
okay.
so I watched it, and it was like, it's all right. I mean, I wasn't impressed by it, but
If you watch the old ones, I mean, obviously the 4K, even the remasters aren't going to be like that, the new one,
right.
but it just the older ones are so much better. But I'm also old, so I mean, that's
Yeah. I own
Yeah,
it, but I haven't seen it yet.
and that's the thing. I feel like there's such a lack of originality now. The studios are
yeah,
like, hey, let's revive this. Let's bring this back. And it's
yep.
like, okay, why can't you just leave that? Like they're already talking. There was something that they were talking about already rebooting. And I was like, dude, that just ended like 5 years ago. Like, why are you trying to reboot this? So I don't know, man. I just think there's a lack of creativity. And that's why, people
But
like
uh-oh.
Denis. Oh, I guess you get cut out there for a second. Like Dune, like I'm super excited. I already got my
Oh
tickets for
yeah,
Dune 2, and I'm
yes.
super excited about that. And it's getting nothing but just rave reviews. Like everyone is saying it's perfect. So I'm
The
super excited
first
about
one
that.
on 4K disc is one of my like
Mhm.
Hmm.
demo discs. I mean, that literally will crack the walls.
Yeah.
And just the sound. But one you should try that will shock you is that new Wonka movie. Absolutely
So I'm waiting
fantastic.
for
Really?
that to come out when it comes out on
Fantastic.
Kaleidoscape. You're talking about the audio or just the movie itself?
Just the movie itself, it made my wife cry at the end. Like literally,
Wow.
she was
Okay.
sobbing. But that Wonka movie, I forget the actor's
Uh,
name. Um,
He's in Dune as well.
yeah, did a killer, fantastic job playing Wonka. Like I didn't think I would
Okay.
like it, and I'll 100% watch it again. I ordered the disc, we bought it on Apple TV because we wanted to see it. But
Hmm.
then immediately after that, I ordered the 4K disc. It was exceptionally good.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm a fan of Gene Wilder, the original,
Hmm.
and I didn't really care for the one with
Johnny
Johnny
Depp.
Depp. Yeah, because I was like, you can't replace Gene Wilder. But this one was interesting because it's him
It's a
at
prequel.
prequel. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I've heard that it's pretty good. So I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yep.
So another thing I wanted to talk about because I got some cables in is expensive cables. So this is another one of those things where you get a
Oh boy.
lot of hate, and
Yeah.
I'm interested. I don't know if you guys have any experience with Audio Quest. This is my
I
first time.
I I do. Yes,
You
I
do?
have experience with every HDMI cable. I even bought the Carbon, which I believe was like $250.
Okay.
I've had Ocean, Forest, Pearl, Cinnamon. I landed on the Cinnamon because honestly, I couldn't see a difference between any of them. But
Hmm.
the Cinnamon, I don't know why I kept that one. Like my Apple TV has a Forest, my main cable's a Cinnamon, and then one's an Ocean. When you switch
Okay.
between sources, sound and video, I honestly can't hear the difference or see the difference. I mean,
So
I've never
what?
tried the power cables, so I don't know
Yeah.
anything about that. But yeah.
So what is your reason for continuing to buy them?
Oh, I don't continue to buy them. That was when I got into
Oh, okay.
the cable thing. Like, try this cable; it's
So you
awesome.
still have them?
Oh yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of money for them, so I figured. And then I had to buy a new HDMI cable, and I bought the SVS Ultra
Hmm.
HDMI cable. Dude, for $40, the thing's built super good, and there's no difference. I mean, for a cable to, I think cables and two-channel high-end audio might make a difference, but for home theater, I I'm not saying people are liars and they didn't hear a difference or see a difference. For me, I can't justify spending $300 on an HDMI cable unless you have a 50-foot run for a projector or
Yeah,
something.
that's true.
But like a 6-foot cable for $300 versus a 6-foot cable for 50, I think you're going to get the same result. Unless your brain tells you,
Yeah.
placebo effect is a good marketing tool for a lot of things. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I've seen some. Yeah, I don't have any experience with HDMI HDMI cables. Power cables, to me, that makes a little bit more sense if it was to make a difference, because you're talking about like a cable that's, this big versus a cable that's, 2 or 3 times bigger with better products, better, conductivity and stuff like that.
But here's my thing, being in the construction industry. So you have the outlet, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the Romex coming from the breaker. Just because you stick a bigger cable in a 120 volt outlet and you have 14.2 Romex coming from a
Right.
20 amp breaker, how does the bigger cable make
That's
the
a good point.
electricity better?
Exactly. It doesn't.
It can't. I mean, now if you run a giant, which isn't going to happen, I mean, if you run a giant cable from your breaker right to your amplifier, maybe it would make a difference, but you're still, let's call it the weakest link. You're plugging a cable this big into an outlet that has Romex going to it.
Right.
I just don't see the science of it. Makes no sense to me. Like,
So, and that's why I was curious, because I've always heard it's like there's some people that live by it, and then there's some people that are like, nope, that is snake oil. I'm curious to see if it actually, because I'm like, okay, I don't have any experience with it. Let me at least see if it can maybe either enhance the audio or video. I don't know. So
can you get somebody to do an A/B test for you though, to where you don't know?
So yeah, and well, that's what I was gonna say is, at least with like, as far as I know, that they make some power conditioners that's supposed to clean up the power, and I have actually seen like people on YouTube where they take the little, I don't know what it's called, but they'll take the little device and they'll plug it into the wall, and you can like, they'll pick up like radio stations and stuff. Like if you have dirty power, I'm sure everybody's not like that, and then they plug it into the power conditioner and it cleans it up. So I don't know, man. It's just one of those things like and that's why I was saying, that's why I wanted to try it out to see for myself if it even does anything. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like, oh my goodness, like it cleaned up all but I am curious to see if it actually does do anything, you know?
I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's the peace of mind too. I bought a really good thick cable. It makes me feel better that my equipment can't short out. It looks really good. It's a super nice cable, and you have it in your hand, and you're like, "Wow, this is super nice." And then your brain says, "Wait, I think I can hear something." But
yeah, and I want to comment on that because Michael's in the chat, and he's one of my friends that hang out here locally, and he has some really nice cables for his rack, and he describes it as jewelry, and that I understand. Like it's like, look, I know, okay, assuming that you have the proper sized, proper specification cable, and yes, there are, especially HDMI cables, there are some pretty big differences between cheap and more expensive, not luxury expensive.
Yeah.
But there's a difference, but especially on the active cables, like I've had some problems and had to upgrade. I'm trying to remember what the one I upgraded to, Ruri Pro, and it worked out great for me. And I'd had the Monoprice Slimline before that, and it worked up to a point, but then I went from like 4K 30 to 4K 120, and it couldn't keep up anymore. So I had to upgrade, but that was like $130 50-foot cable, something like that. So you're paying for the length, you're paying for the fact that it's active cable. So look, you have to properly size your cable, and you need proper, oxygen-free copper and all that. But beyond that, my feeling, if you know that sonically it's not making a difference, but you just like the way it looks, I'm like, go for it. Like, it's pretty. I like pretty things. You pay a lot of money, because when you think about it, my ring's not fancy, but these fancy diamond rings have no utility value. They don't really serve a purpose other than to look pretty, but yet they can cost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Go for it. I don't care. But I'm more of get a good quality spec cable. And it was interesting in M-Wave last year when they did a blind test and replaced one of the fancy cables with a coat hanger.
That's wild.
Yep.
Kind of makes you feel like, ooh. Yeah, the fact that, because I think everybody picked or most of the people picked the hanger wire, right?
Yeah, it got picked some of the time.
That's funny.
But I mean, you have $170,000 speaker cables out there. I mean, do they really? I mean, I you got the money, spend it, but that better be a really good looking cable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like you can see the energy going through it, and it lights up or something. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's going to be a topic that no one's ever gonna not argue about. This
Yeah.
speaker cables is a big. I see it on Facebook groups all the time. People get into heated arguments about
Oh yeah.
cables. Oh yeah, big time.
Somebody already commented on the video today. They're like, I hope this channel doesn't go down the path of And I'm like, dude, I'm just curious to see what happens. Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, this is the best. You need to buy these cables. I just want to see if it for myself.
So whatever you determine, I'm going to start a channel and say the exact opposite, and just to start beef.
Right?
And
That'd be hilarious.
Croson, he jumped in and clarified it was in the top 2 for every selection.
That's actually wild when you think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That people chose this
coat
hanger over other cable, even regular, generic cables.
So I'm curious though. He says also that $300 is cheap in the cable game, but I don't know if we're talking about like what kind of cables we're talking about.
I'm assuming he's talking about like 2-channel, because 2-channel stuff, like if you go to some of these shows, there's cables that are like $40, $80, $50,000, like $100,000 for speaker cables. So I'm assuming that's what he's talking about, because you typically, like in home theater, and I feel like I don't know of anyone else other than AudioQuest that has expensive cables like that. So I feel like he's maybe talking about 2-channel.
AudioQuest gets up there with some crazy expensive.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely do. Yeah.
I mean, once it's $100,000, I hope it's braided out of unicorn hair or something at that point. Yeah.
Right. I better turn my 4K display into 8K.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. People are going to argue over everything. I mean, I'm like, if you plug that cable in and you say, hey, it made a humongous difference, hey, you are happy with it, just leave it plugged in. Keep it.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm at.
Yep. Well,
now you're going to make me try power cables.
Are you doing power cables right now, Jordan?
Yeah, so they sent me I think it was a Monsoon, which is, I don't think it's their top of the line, but it's a bigger cable. So they sent me that one. They said that one should work well for the RMC one, for the amplifier. And then they sent me 2 other ones. I forget the name of it. It's like NR something. That one I actually just plugged into the Epson yesterday, and then they have another one that's made out of, I guess that one's made out of rubber. These other ones I think are made out of like nylon or the sheathing. So they said that like if you want, you can do like a test to see if there's any difference or whatever. But I actually haven't plugged in the one for the Imatima yet, because next week I'm getting a new rack. I have to get a new rack, so I've got to take everything out of my rack, just completely gut it, take it all out, get the new rack. But before I do that, I'm going to rip up the carpet in the back, put some vinyl flooring in, paint, and then I'm going to, put everything back in the new rack. So I kind of want to just wait. That way I have access to everything.
So something you had mentioned before regarding cables is you had a hum or something, and then you went and bought, like, you spent a lot of money, or I don't know how much money, but a lot more money on better cables. Did that solve your problem?
So I was using RCA. I had 2 Imativa amplifiers that I had RCA, and before I got the RMC one, I was using an Anthem receiver that had pre-outs, so I didn't have any XLRs. And when I got the RMC one, my Emotiva 3-channel amp had XLRs on it, so I was able to use the XLRs on my LCR. Once I got that, the hum went away on my LCR, so I was like, okay, so maybe I just need to swap to XLR. But I was getting like it was a loud hum and it drove me crazy every time I watched anything in the theater. And so I even bought some cables from SVS. I bought the SoundPath cables. I bought 13 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I got them at a discount, but I still spent a lot of money and plugged them all up. Hum is still there. So I was like, man. So I'm like, man, I hope it's just the XLR. So then I was able to get the Fiera 8 amplifier from Stark Sound, which has XLR, and took my two Emotiva amps, other two amps that I had out, plugged that one in, did that, hooked it up to XLR. The hum was gone. So I don't know if it was a ground loop or if maybe the wires just were too close. Because when I got with the RMC1 in, I did some better wire management, which I'm gonna do even better when I get the new rack. But the only hum that I can hear is if I go right up to the speaker, take the grill off, and put my ear on it, and I hear just like a little buzz. So I'm curious to see if the new cable, the AudioQuest cable, just removes that little bit. But I mean, like sitting in my listening position, main listening positions, I don't hear any hum at all.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had an amp or heard an amp where you could, I mean, if you stick your ear up right to the tweeter, you can hear a tiny bit of hiss.
Right.
I don't know if there's, I mean, unless you get into crazy expensive amps.
I don't think it's going to, but I was like, it'll be interesting to see if it does if it does anything. But yeah, so that, I guess, like I said, I think it may have just been the going from XLR to, because I was using XLR to RCA cables before, since because our RMC1 only has XLR. So I don't know if it was like a grounding issue because the XLRs, have better, grounding. It's got like a third pin. But yeah, once I went to all XLR, it was fine. Now I'm getting a buzz on my projector that's intermittent. So it's like, man, I fixed one problem. Now I got like this other one. It's just like,
the buzz will drive you crazy.
It does, and it's right above my head because that's where my projector is. So it's just like, so when it stops, it's like, oh, okay, good. But when it's happening, it's infuriating because I'm like, why can't my stuff just work? All my electronics just work the way that I want it to work.
Well, you're not alone. I feel that way in life every day. Like, why can't it just work? Everything breaks. Every day something breaks.
Yep.
Might be time for a hush box.
Well, so that's the thing. I started building a hush box. I mean, it's janky. I did it myself. It's not like a legit hush box, but it's over my head. And what I was going to do is I was going to put a front cover on it and then cut a hole out for the theater glass. And that way it would be enclosed. But when I got the Epson, I was like, oh, this is pretty quiet. Like when it's not making that buzz, I don't even hear it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I guess I don't need to put it on there. So I just left it. I'm like, well, it's got enough airflow anyway. But then it started doing that, and I'm like, oh, man, like it drives me. It's a really weird noise. And it only, if I'm not playing something, like if I'm just on the Apple TV, on the home screen, or if I go over to my to-do and I'm not playing anything, it's there. And it'll get like louder and lower. Or sometimes it'll stay constant. But as soon as I like start actually playing something, when it does the handshake, it stops. Then it comes back, and then it goes away while I'm playing content. If I hit stop, it does it. So there's got to be some type of weird, I don't know if it's a frequency or if there's something that's happening when it's getting a signal and it doesn't do it, and then when it's not getting a signal, but it didn't do that before when I first got it. So I have no idea. Like,
did you call
what it is
and ask them?
No, I need to, but it's freaking annoying.
Is it still under warranty?
Oh yeah, I've only had it maybe four months, maybe 5 months. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to if it doesn't go well. So that's another thing. Once I get my new rack and I take everything out, I want to unplug everything because I don't know if it's even something that's coming over, from the power. I want to unplug everything and just leave the Epson plugged in and see if it's still doing it. Because that will tell me if it's the Epson or if I take everything out and unplug it from the wall and there's nothing else plugged into that circuit, if it's something that's coming up over the power or, cable or interference or something. So I just got to troubleshoot it some more.
Yeah, is all your stuff in your room just on one circuit?
No, so when the house was built, I had them put another outlet in the ceiling because I knew I was going to have a projector. So that's the only thing that's
Okay.
plugged in. Everything else is plugged into the back in the where my rack is.
Okay.
So, but it's really weird. So I had another Epson before that. I had to send that back because it had a dead pixel on it, but that
Hmm.
didn't ever do it. And the only thing that I've added since that started happening was the kaleidoscope. And I don't think it's the kaleidoscope, but I was like, I tried to think back. I was like, did I add anything? I was like, okay, the kaleidoscope was there. So, like I said, I just gotta like unplug everything out from the outlet, leave the projector plugged in, and see if it's still doing it. If it's still doing it, then I know okay, it's the projector, and there's just something weird, or if it's actually. But like I said, it stops when I actually am playing a movie or a TV show or streaming. So it's like when it's getting an actual signal to play, it stops.
Mhm.
So it's
Huh.
really weird. I've never had that happen
So is
before.
it like an electrical noise or fan noise?
So it's not a fan noise because I changed the setting. So right now I have the light at 75%, but if you change it to 100%, then the fan noise ramps up. And so I did that and I was like, okay, it's not the fan, but it's like this weird, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it sounds like, it's like, like it's, that's all I
Like a
know.
like a
It
like a
sounds like a
route.
dial-up modem. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
Not even, man, I have to, so I actually have, I'll send it to you guys because I took video of it the other day, but it's because I thought at first I was like, oh, it must be the fan. And then I was like, no, it's not the fan because when I turned up the brightness, it didn't stop. Why is that? Why is there a thumb on my, did you guys see that?
Yeah, you must have your like gesture thing on, isn't it?
I've never seen
Are
that
you on a
happen.
Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some. I don't even know how you make it do it, but it's that
I've seen that on other people's channel and they're like, why is it doing that? That's the first time I've ever seen it do that.
I don't know how you turn it on and off, but I saw that the other day.
Okay, so I saw that because I looked at that. So Croson says that is from the Auto Iris. I saw that, but on the Epson LS 12,000, it's not called Auto Iris anymore. So I need to, because I was going in there on my 5040, it's called Auto Iris. It's called something else now. But that's interesting that he said that because I looked it up and I saw someone say that. So I guess I need to look and see what it's actually called and try to turn that off. But like I said, so there must have been something that I turned on because when I first got it, the second one, it wasn't doing that at all. So that's interesting. But I wonder why it would make that noise though from that.
I think for our next live stream, you just need to like hold it up to the projector, and we can just like
Everybody
troubleshoot.
comment.
Like everybody, let's troubleshoot this in real time.
Yeah, man. It's really weird. Like the first time it started doing that, I was like, "What in the world is that? Like, what is that noise?" And then it stopped, and I was like, "Oh, that was weird. Maybe there was, a power fluctuation or something." And then it started doing it again, and then it just like it does it pretty much 90% of the time if I'm not watching something. Drives me absolutely insane. Like I've unplugged it. I've got like an extension cable and plugged it in to see if it and it's. But I noticed that it's only when I play something that it's actually getting a signal that stops. So I'm gonna try that. It says it just adjusts the lens. It's constant focus the light, adjusting the iris just like a camera. Yeah. So like I said on the 5040, I could go into the settings and it actually said auto iris and I could turn it off. It doesn't say that anymore. It's called something else on the newer one. I just need to find out what it is and like toggle it on and off. But it drives me crazy, man. If I could fix that, I'd be like, everything is good now.
And then another noise will appear.
Yeah, something else.
Yeah.
Something else will happen.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. Well, guys, it's been about a little bit over an hour. So on it's about an hour. You're an hour ahead over there, Brian, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't work for me. I don't know.
I don't even know.
why.
I don't even know. I just had my hand up earlier. I don't even know how it like what makes it do that. But that was
All
really
right.
weird.
Hold on. Let's see. Oh, I
Oh,
did it.
I see hearts now. How did you do that?
That one
Whoa.
actually, I just clicked on here. Check this out, man.
What are you clicking on?
I found if you
Yeah.
go to the camera and your title bar, there's a drop down and you can click reactions. Like this is high quality entertainment.
So
right
you have
here.
to click on it, right? I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's not doing any automatic
But see,
gestures.
I didn't click on anything earlier. I had my hands
Right.
up. So, balloons. That's hilarious.
Here, I'll give you one more. There you go.
Nice.
That's funny.
Oh, I'm having way too much fun.
That like blacked out your screen too when you did that.
Yeah, it was weird.
But thanks, Croson, for that. That kind of makes me feel a little bit better that it's because, like I said, I did look it up and I saw that and I was like, huh. And actually, I went into the settings to try to find that and turn it off, but it's called something else now. So I'm gonna look into that. But all right, guys, I guess we can go ahead and call it. I need to get me something to eat. I'm starving. But
Same here.
appreciate you guys jumping on the channel. Rusty should be back on again next month with the rest of the Everything is Bigger in Texas home theater tours. The rest of those guys. Let's see, Croson says I had to turn that off. Yeah, I must have turned it on at some point, so I need to figure out where it is in the settings and turn it off. But Brian, why don't you tell everybody where you're? Let me get this back up here. See.
And I am working on making more content.
Okay.
I've been super busy with this bathroom, so I haven't had any time to.
What's your what do you think your next video is going to be about? Give us a little tease.
It's going to be on those that BTS box that I just bought with the dual 21s in it. That's 6 feet tall.
Six
cool.
feet tall, man. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you real quick before we sign off. So I know who Ace of Base is, but why did you decide to call your theater Ace of Base?
I have no idea. At first it was Ace of Space, and a buddy of mine was like, "Make it Ace of Base," and I was like, "Cool." And then I realized you can only change the name twice. So I was like, "Well, I'm stuck with
Really?
Ace of Base now."
Oh, I
I
didn't
think
know that.
on YouTube you can only change your name twice.
Oh, snap! I didn't know that.
But I could be wrong, but it said it in the menu when I was doing it. So now it's Ace of Base, and people are like, "That was a band." I was like,
Yeah, but it's not. It's spelled differently. Base.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But cool. Well, yeah.
All right.
So that's the name of your channel, Ace of Base. If you guys want to go check that out, go support him. You know, like you said, he's just getting started, so he's going to be posting more content. So appreciate
Delivery
everybody.
video I'll do like a delivery video on the subs and an unboxing, and then a review once I plug them in, and I'm making my seats go like this, hopefully.
Cool.
Because they're near field, so 21-inch
nice.
near fields, 21 inches from my back should be
Yeah,
quite an
Rusty knows about
experience.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Be my first time, so we'll see.
Cool. Well, I look forward to seeing the videos. Everybody, thank you for tuning in, and I guess we will see you on the next live stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Jordan. It's always
Thanks
a
for
good
having
time.
me too.
Yeah.
It's nice to
Yeah.
meet you, Brian.
All right, nice to meet you too.
Hey, and I subscribed to your channel, so you're up to 251.
Thank you.
Nice.
All right.
All right,
Hey, it
everybody.
worked.
Wait a minute.
How come yours worked? That's not.
Wait a minute. Did I do that?
You did.
I don't know how.
I wonder if it's voice activated
Thumbs up.
because it ain't working for me.
It did. I saw it pop up.
No, I saw it pop up too,
Let's just do this for another half hour or so.
just to try to get bubbles, a
I
thumb
don't know
bubble.
how that. I don't know. I'm on a phone, so I don't know how that happens. I'm not even
I
on a
don't know.
computer.
Why can't we do it again?
I
Do you
don't
have
know.
to hold it?
I wonder if it's like if it does it by voice or something.
Oh,
Oh,
Wait.
you did it.
Oh, I did it. I
how
guess
is
you
this
have to hold
happening?
it.
So is this like
It doesn't like
You're-
me anymore.
whose
Yeah, get
computer's
your
doing
thumb up a
this?
little higher. There you go. Hold it.
Right.
I don't know. There's no telling. Well, hey, it's a topic for the next live stream.
Yeah, that's weird.
On that note, see y'all later.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.